you. Okay, so this is the foundation portfolio presentation, Group 106, Group C. Over to you guys.
Our film's called The Wrong Box, but still sort of messing around with it a bit and still a working title, so we can change it a bit to not be 100% sure yet.
The synopsis of our film is about a group of 3 teenagers living in the city of Brighton. The reason it's called The Wrong Box is because it focuses around a box, and they're part of a gang, and they end up stealing a box from a house, which sort of ends up being quite a lot of trouble for them.
The unique selling point of the film is that it's gritty and realistic, so it's relatable to the target audience, which is teenagers around the ages 15 and 20.
The Equilibrium starts off with this group of friends that go around doing their day-to-day routine of stealing stuff from houses, and they are they're being inspired by this higher group that they are stealing things for, and they break into this house which they think is just a normal house. It turns out it's an ex-convict house, and the protagonist Frank finds this locked box that holds something inside, but he doesn't know. Mystery.
In this equilibrium of the film, the house owner is woken up by the 3 guys who are stealing from the house. They hear him coming down, so they take what they can, including the box, which Frank takes home and hides in his house, doesn't tell anyone about it. The box becomes the MacGuffin of the whole film, because it's what everyone's after. The ex-cons then later tipped off about who carried out the burglary, and he sets out to take down the 3 guys after one of the friends is killed off, and Frank decides to go out on the run.
The new equilibrium is that Frank's safe in a different town, but this is deceiving to the audience, because the ex-con then comes to find Frank and makes him decide on the spot whether he wants to join the new gang or be killed.
We decided to end our film on a cliffhanger because it's been successful for other films such as Batman Begins and The Dark Knight Rises. We thought the fact that it would be a cliffhanger would mean that it would be open for another film, which would eventually generate more profit, and as the audience would obviously want to see what happens in the next film.
The location that we will be set in this film will be in a house which is run down, not looked after, and we are going to actually do this in an abandoned house somewhere that isn't really well known. And the time of day, we will be doing this at night time, and if this isn't possible, we will create the effect of it being night by blacking out the windows. And the costumes, because this is a typical gang, so they'll be wearing hoodies, baggy jeans and trainers, and the main prop will be the locked box, and the gang will be holding and carrying around with them crowbars to break into the house.
We took influence from other successful films, including The Bling Ring, Collateral, and Enemy of the State. Bling Ring gave us influence because it's also about teenagers who break into houses and steal. Collateral and Enemy of the State both have protagonists getting involved in things by accident and getting chased down. Enemy of the State is the whole film about a guy being chased by the government, so it's quite similar to ours because it's all about a chase and then trying to get away.
These are pretty low budget films, we don't really need that much money for props and other things because it's going to look more realistic. We sort of took ideas from Paranormal Activity and Blair Witch Project, and so we were bored there that Paranormal Activity only cost $15,000, so we can sort of work around that.
We decided the best way to market for our target audience would be through things such as social networking sites, partly because it's free to put things on like Facebook and Twitter, and because it's popularly used by like 15 to 20-year-olds, so we know that they're more likely to be able to see it. That's it.
Questions to the floor? Okay, well, I think on your opening slide you had certification 15.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So why is that?
Because it's going to be quite like dangerous. It is focusing around gangs, so there might be like swearing and stuff because it is quite gritty and like realistic. And because we are marketing it more towards an older audience, so that we do have leeway for things like violence and stuff.
And I assume because your protagonist is a teenager?
Yeah.
Okay, so it will relate to that age group as well. Okay, so your character, he's an anti-hero. Are we going to like him?
Well, I think he's a bit of a dick 'cause he does run off and leave his friends,
Oh.
like to get killed. But yeah, no, I think he's probably going to be quite lucky.
It's kind of like, have you seen Trainspotting? Sort of based around the main character, where he sort of leaves that sort of stuff behind him and tries to find peace. And sort of thought that when we were thinking of characters.
Because he's
So-
actually just a bit like scared.
Is there a moral to your story then?
Don't get involved with gangs.
So he's a kind of petty criminal, and it's the
It's
It's a bit of a
basically,
pussy.
yeah, he's being like controlled by these other people he kind of looks up to, so he doesn't really probably actually know.
so your cliffhanger, is there going to be hints towards a kind of new narrative in another film?
We haven't really thought about that, but it kind of, like, at the end he's sort of, like I said, he has to choose between the new gang or get killed. So it's like he's going to be in the new gang, maybe trying to sort of...
Yeah, but hopefully it will actually end up being a happy ending for him because we don't want him to like get killed off or anything.
But my point was, if we're beginning to like this character, are we?
Yeah.
So isn't that part of the resolution of your film? And where would that go into another film?
Well, he's still going to be the good guy, like he's being pressured into being in this gang.
Yeah, the audience isn't going to want him to get killed and they're not going to want him to be part of the new gang because he's going to be showing that he's actually like enjoying life, not being part of the gang. So the audience is going to be hoping that he somehow finds a way out of the new gang.
So do you think that's a strong enough selling point to sort of take the story on into
Yeah,
another?
because people are going to be like behind that character.
Okay. Any other questions? All right, thank you, Group C.